Hey guys, so I just finished my last video. I literally just uploaded it right now. I was excited because the minute I finished that video, I went to my door and I opened my door and I found this. This is going to change everything. This is my new SmallHD Focus 5-inch monitor. This is my current setup that I use here. Typically, most of the time, I actually use the Sony A7R. I know that my last video was on the GH5, but this is the guy that kind of sits here most of the time. I got this little arm, it's pretty cheap online, and this little cheap $100 monitor, which works great, I gotta tell you, it's pretty awesome. And then just to make the sound a little bit better, I just stuck my microphone on this extender thing here, and I've got my giant aperture light right there mounted to the wall. But here's the problem. Look at all these cables dangling out of it. It's really a pain in the ass. There's a ton of cables coming out of it, and everything is tethered to a power plug back there. Not only is it a little messy, it's not very mobile, and I don't have any waveform or any like cool, toys on this monitor. I only get what's in the camera. I don't really need to talk about the monitor. There's plenty of videos out there. I'm just excited, so I want to shoot another video. So I'm actually going to shoot another video talking about a video that Peter McKinnon just put up, and that video is about motion blur, and I have another way to do it, a better way to do motion blur speed ramping in Adobe Premiere. Sorry, Peter. Stay tuned. All right, guys, so this is it. I am now on this SmallHD monitor, and it's kind of cool. So now I've still got my little arm extending out my microphone because I like that. Just makes the audio a little bit better. Got some cat hair right on the tip just to prove that I have cats. There's the SmallHD monitor. It's almost out of battery. I plugged it in with no battery. It's so cool though. It fits so nicely on the camera, and then you can set it to all these settings. So I've got the rule of thirds thingy going on here. I can do this great focus assist thing if I'm manually focusing. My beard seems to work wonders for that. Audio meters, which are great. This is an exposure assist. I could use the waveform. This is kind of cool. Basically anything that's green is proper exposure. Anything that's purple is underexposed or not exposed. Anything that's red is too bright. So my collar's a little too bright right here because I'm wearing a white shirt. And I know I wasn't supposed to be doing a video on this, but I just think it's really cool. And then check this out. You can actually shrink it down and actually create different presets. I have a preset with a waveform in it. How cool is that? This thing was definitely worth it. Now, as promised, I'm actually going to just pop in my computer and not use this at all while I let the batteries charge up, and give you guys a tutorial on speed ramping with motion blur using something called the Real Smart Motion Blur plugin. This plugin is something that we have been using in visual effects for years and years and years. It's awesome. You can get the regular version for 89 bucks. I highly recommend it. I know that it does cost money, but I have to tell you, it does things that just using directional blur can't do. There's actually a lot more math to motion blur. So anyway, this plugin works great. It's really easy. I'm gonna show you how to use it in 2 minutes. Here we go. I did a speed ramp clip of this thing that I shot last week, and it looks like this. It goes, and then doing my own whoosh sounds. It has a really great motion blur, and if you look here, you can see the motion blur, and I'll just toggle it on and off so that you can see the difference. You see that? I'm not using directional blur. I'm not cheating it with any blurs. This is actually a plugin that does an algorithm to create this blur. So if you can see here later on when I'm zooming in the camera, you can see that the blur is actually zooming in. You can see on the sides how it's actually zooming in properly with the camera. So this makes a really natural, smooth motion blur, and I am going to show you guys how to set this up right now really quickly. So let me just take this same piece of footage that I used before. If you watched Peter McKinnon's video, you know how to do the speed ramping. I do it more or less the same. You click on this little FX thing, you go to time remapping and speed, so now you're dealing with that. I don't hit the P key for pen tool, I just hold down Control, or you can hold down the Command key on an Apple, and that will accomplish the same thing. So I'm gonna hold down Control, and I'm gonna click right here to put a point. I'm just gonna drag up a bunch and keep clicking until I'm at 1,000. So now it's gonna go like that, but I'm gonna stop right here, Control click and another point, keep dragging down. It's kind of annoying because you gotta keep clicking and dragging. All right, I don't want to be at 1%. I want to take it back to 100%. There you go. So I've got my speed ramp, but as you can tell, it looks really, really jerky, right? And I think I wanted to do it again somewhere later on in the clip. Find that part where it pans over right there. And we pan over, and then I zoom in right there. I want to grab that zoom. So I'm going to start right here. Right about there is where our zoom starts. I'm going to control click, drag up a bunch, control click, drag down a bunch until I get back down to 100. All right, so now we've got another speed ramp. And again, the other thing that Mr. McKinnon points out wisely is that if you click on these little doohickeys, you can spread them out, and then you get these little sticks, and you want to kind of just make a little S-curve. That's the nicest sort of look, and that gives you a nice little smoother transition. All right, so in this one, I've got a lot of camera movement. I actually just changed things a little bit just to make sure I have this double zoom in there in the speed up. So it goes boom, boom, and then it freezes. So that's pretty cool, right? So all we have to do is get a plugin called Real Smart Motion Blur, which if I go to my effects palette, it's Revision Plugins is the company, and RSMB or Real Smart Motion Blur is the plugin. You can't just drag it on the clip that you speed ramp though. You have to nest them. So I'm just gonna highlight these, right click, go nest, you could give it a name, but whatever, I'm just gonna hit enter. And now I am just going to play this just to make sure it works. And you can see it works, but there's no motion blur here, and it just looks very choppy, right? It just looks very weird. I mean, it's cool, but it could be cooler. So the minute I drag this on, boom, motion blur. That's it, guys. That's the tutorial. You can tweak the settings. Here it is, RSMB. You can go blur them out. You could crank this up. I mean, if I made this a 5, you go crazy, but then it starts looking weird. You can do all kinds of weird effects. 0.5 is 180-degree shutter, so that's kind of natural. You might still get some weird artifacts here and there. It's not perfect, but honestly, in a speed ramp like this, you won't notice it. And you can raise and lower the motion sensitivity, and that is all you need to do. But honestly, it's pretty drag and drop. So now I've got really nice motion blur. Again, if I turn it off and I play this, it's just, you know, it's okay. But if I turn it on, and you may need to render it depending on the speed of your computer. So yeah, check it out. Pew! Look at that. Doesn't that feel really smooth? Boom, boom. And here's what it looks like. It's got this nice zooming quality to it, and that is really, really important. If I were to just use a directional blur on this footage here, let me turn off Real Smart and start increasing the directional blur, you're only going up and down or left and right. I recommend for $89 getting Real Smart Motion Blur if this is something you're gonna do a lot. It just looks great. That's it for this video. Real quick and simple. Again, I love what Peter McKinnon does. Do not get me wrong. I'm not trying to show him up or anything like that. I just happen to have been doing this kind of stuff in visual effects for like the last 12 years. And just like whenever I post something and someone has a better idea, I really love that because it helps me grow. I just wanted to give you guys, I just wanted to throw out another option for you guys there really quickly. The difference I would say though is that Peter McKinnon's version is free in Premiere and mine costs money. So he's got the edge right there. If you did enjoy this video, please feel free to subscribe or hit the like button down below and tell your friends. By the way, I just broke 400 subscribers. I know it's not a lot of people in the grand scheme of things, but it's a lot of people to me, and I've been getting a lot of positive comments and a lot of really cool like ideas and techniques from people. In fact, there's so much stuff that I might do like a video where I update a lot of stuff that I've learned from you guys from the comments, which I think is fantastic. Anyway, thank you guys so much for everything, and I will see you next week. Bye-bye.